people saying they can't draw circles, or their circles look more like potatoes. This video is just for you guys. Hello, I'm Artist with Sami. For this tutorial, we're going to work freehand, so the only tools we'll need are a pencil, eraser, and sketchbook, just so I can prove to you that these methods work. I'm going to use my non-dominant hand to draw instead. As long as you know what a circle should look like, you should be able to draw one, even if you're picking up a pencil for the first time. I'm going to show you 3 methods for drawing circles. Here's the first one. I know some of you are really good at drawing potatoes in all shapes and sizes, so I'm calling it the potato method. Step 1 is to draw your potato. Alright, all joking aside, draw the best circle that you can. I know this doesn't look anything close to a circle, so I'm going to reshape it. Using more lines, just keep adding and subtracting until you get a shape that looks as close to a circle as possible. There is no rule that says circles have to be drawn using a single line in swift motion, so feel free to take your time. Now, if you've been avoiding circles this whole time, hopefully I got you to at least try drawing one. Don't be afraid to use your eraser. It's not cheating. Practice the potato method a few times without judging yourself harshly. The more you practice, the less lines you'll need to add, and the less erasing you'll need to do. Looks like I'm getting better already. That's a pretty good circle. So now that you got foot in the door, let's try another method. This one's for all you shaky hands out there. Maybe you find it extremely difficult to draw circles because your lines are so shaky or squiggly looking. We've all used pencils in school, but the muscles we use when writing are different from the muscles we use for drawing. These set of drawing muscles must be trained, and the only way to train them is to draw a whole bunch of different things until the motions become more and more familiar. Here's how you can draw a circle in the meantime. So, short strokes are much easier to draw than long ones, right? We're going to use a series of short pencil strokes and shape it into a circle. Small circles are easier to draw than big ones, so it may be a good idea to start small. If you find that your hand blocks your field of vision, try drawing it in the opposite direction, and don't be afraid to use your eraser if need be. The most difficult part about this method is to visualize a circle in your mind and then trace it as best as you can. It's pretty darn difficult, so don't blame yourself if you can't draw it perfectly on the first few tries. If you start going off track, don't panic. Just go back to where you messed up and adjust your path instead of starting over from the very beginning. If you do adjustments like this often, you'll be able to spot patterns of mistake if there are any. Once you have this valuable information, you can predict mistakes before they happen, allowing you to stay on the right course and prevent mistakes in the future. For example, I know that when drawing circles with my left hand, they're typically dented in the bottom right, so that's an area for me to pay special attention to every time I draw one. Once your hand is familiar with these drawing motions, try drawing longer strokes until they become smoother and smoother. Muscle memory does take time to develop. Over time, you will be able to gain better control of your hand and get it to do what you need it to do. If you're confident with drawing circles now, here's a trickier method that takes quite a bit of practice. This one will allow you to draw big circles quickly and cleanly. I'm going to use my right hand to demonstrate this one, and then I'll switch back to the left. Alright, so the idea with this is to limit the movement in your fingers and wrists, and instead use your shoulder and elbow to move instead. The more joints that you need to control, the more difficult that's going to be, so you really want to reduce the amount of variables. I'm going to keep my fingers and my wrist very still and hover my pencil over the paper and create a circular motion like this right now. Once I feel comfortable, I'm just going to lower my pencil and create that circle. So I was resting the side of my hand on the table so that my pencil could hover any consistent height of just a few millimeters above the paper. Another way to anchor your hand is to stick out your pinky while making sure it's held solidly in place so you can maintain a consistent hover height between the pencil and paper. I much prefer doing it this way because it reduces the amount of friction, making these circular movements much easier to make. For this method, it's important to remember to limit the movement in your fingers and wrists. You don't have to keep them solid, they can move a little. I just find that it's more difficult to draw a smooth circle when there are many joints moving at the same time. Okay, so now for the difficult part. I'm going to use my left hand to draw this time. Let's just try one circle to start. Already my air circles, they're very inconsistent. Like I kind of see triangles, ovals, and not very many circles happening. So what I'm going to try to do is go in the opposite direction. I was doing it counterclockwise, now I'm going to do it clockwise. And that's actually a lot smoother, so do definitely try reversing your rotation. Alright, my palm is in full contact with the paper, and let's try drawing the circle. I do need a bit of a warm-up with this arm, so I'm going to do it a few more times. That's getting better. That was 3 tries, but I think it'll take probably a dozen more to get a pretty decent-looking circle. If you want to practice this method and be successful with it a lot faster, instead of hovering your pencil and then drawing a single circle, try connecting your pencil to the paper from the very beginning, so you can clearly see the output of your arm movement. Just draw continuous circles over and over and over again to get this circular movement cemented into your muscle memory. You can quickly catch mistakes and adjust your arm accordingly to correct it. Fill a few pages with spirals like this until it feels natural to you. I do find that for this method, larger circles are a lot easier to draw than small ones. For example, this one is about 8 centimeters. It's much easier to draw than this one, which is about 2 centimeters. This is due to the increased range of motion that comes with using your elbow and shoulder instead of just the fingers and wrists. So do try drawing different circle sizes so you can find where your sweet spot is and then work from there. Once you feel super comfortable with this circular motion, try it without letting your hand touch the paper. I'd recommend practicing as frequently as you can until the movement feels natural to you. Here's a recap on all 3 methods. Method number 1, the potato method. Draw the best circle that you can and then shape it further so it looks as close to a circle as possible, using your eraser if needed. Over time, it should become easier to draw circles using less strokes with little to no erasing. Method number 2. If your strokes are too wobbly and hard to control, use short strokes and shape them into a circle. Adjust your path as you go. Try not to start over from the beginning if mistakes arise. Method number 3. Rest your hand on a flat surface, hovering your pencil over the page. Limit the movement in your fingers and wrists, and instead move your elbow and shoulder, creating circular motions as your pencil hovers above the page. Once your air circle looks and feels right, lower your pencil. This method is for drawing large circles quickly and cleanly. I hope you gave these 3 methods a try, and don't forget to practice often to build up your muscle memories. Time is so precious, so if you want any ideas for create new drawings, then just click my next video. Thanks for watching.